Hey folks, Finless Bob here. So I'm going to talk about something today that I've never talked about. I have made some posts on Spyder Lovers about it with a lot of instructions and detailed explanation, but I've never done a video, so I'm going to do video. The reason is I was asked recently about this. So you know, and I want to stress this, because you have a chipped key system, make sure your insurance company knows that, because in my state, you get a discount for having a security key system built in, right? A lot of motorcycles, I know newer ones do, but older motorcycles don't. My insurance agent asked if I had some kind of security system. So just the built-in chipped key system gives you a discount. Then, because I added an alarm system, and I'll show you what it's all about in a minute, I got even more of a discount. So I'm going to talk about my alarm system since I was asked about it. It's called the Spy 5000, all right? And I'm going to show a picture of the box, and I've got some other detail that I'll edit this video and show. But it comes with two remotes, and these remotes have a very good range. As you can see when it's on, there's an antenna icon that shows you your signal strength. I've been parked at a mall and gone into a mall and still had connectivity to the thing. And the beauty of the remote is if your alarm goes off because someone messes with it, the remote vibrates and it shows you whether it was like an impact or someone close to it, et cetera, and I'll talk about that more. I am very impressed with the range. The antenna that talks to the remote, I put up here. There it is right there above my Baja Ron sticker. Top of the Spyder, not around a lot of metal. This is all plastic, and that works out very well for me. That's where I put the antenna. As far as the install goes, I put the alarm system, which is a box, waterproof, and I put it down here with the battery in this area here. And it fit perfectly. Double-sided tape, and I'll show you the shock sensor here when I show you the alarm. And the wiring, and I'll talk about the wiring in a little bit. I'm not going to show the wiring. I'll help anybody out that wants to do this. But actually, it's pretty simple, so let me talk about the wiring a minute. The alarm system comes with a whole bunch of options to hook to certain things on a motorcycle. The minimum you need are 12 volt ground and a switched 12 volt. That way the alarm knows when you turn your key off. And actually I need to turn my key on here to demonstrate something. So it needs those three at a minimum. It needs to know when your key's on or off so it can arm, and then it needs power. Then there's a bunch of other wiring you can hook up. You can make your lights flash when the alarm goes off or when you arm it, and I'll show that in a minute. By the way, doing this video, I found out I got a burnt out bulb that I got to fix. Anyway, and then there's other wiring. So when you buy this alarm system, you see all this wiring. You're like, holy cow. Well, again, you only need the three at a minimum. I did hook up the turn signals, which were two more yellow lights left and right. And it flashes all the turn signals, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. And then there's a bunch of other wiring that I don't think you can really hook up to a Spyder. I could have investigated more and found out, but prime example is if you leave your Spyder running and you walk away for a minute, someone jumps on it, tries to take off with it, you can literally, there's a button here that will kill the engine. Well, with the Spyder and the CAN bus tapping into, say, the kill switch, which is a CAN bus thing, or tapping into the ignition coil to kill the ignition coil, the alarm will do that. I didn't want to mess with that, so I didn't hook up any of those other features, and you don't have to either, because this gives you a pretty good thing. Now, there are two models of the Spy 5000. You have to be careful when you buy it online. There's the version without the microwave sensor and the version with the microwave sensor. I mounted my microwave sensor right here. What the microwave sensor does is it senses body proximity, and I'll show that in the video as well. I'm probably going to chop up and edit this video a little bit to show each feature, but I'll show you. By the way, pardon my battery charger hooked up. Anyway, that I have set sensitivity-wise, so anybody entering the Y of the Spyder to like look over the dash or maybe want to climb on it very carefully, it will sense a body in its presence. But if you just are standing back and looking, it won't. And what's really cool is if someone gets in the Y, it'll go bleep, bleep, bleep and chirp, and they can step away and it won't set the alarm off. It'll just chirp a few times, and you'll get an indication on here on your remote, wherever you are. If you're in range, which again is very good. I was impressed with the range. Anyway, you'll get an indication that someone is kind of checking out your Spyder. Anyway, so another thing I did was, by default, when you hook up this alarm, when you turn off the key, it auto arms. And I didn't like that, because not always do I just want to walk into a Quickie Mart or something and have to deal with unarming the alarm and all that kind of stuff. So the instructions are not very clear, and I'll help anybody that needs it, but there's a way by pressing a button a certain amount of times, I think it's unarm, that will set the alarm. So if you turn off the key, it won't auto arm, and you literally use the remote to arm. And that's a cool feature that I did like, because again, I don't want my alarm set every single time I turn the key off. So I turned that off, and therefore if I want the alarm, because I'm going to be away from the Spyder for a little while, and just arm it, take this with me and arm it. So what I'm going to show you next is exactly that. I'm going to turn off the key, and you have to wait till the key 12 volt system shuts off, which always on the Spyder takes a little while. You'll see when this shuts off. Now I found out I got a burned out bulb doing this video right here, turn signal bulb out, so I got to fix that. But watch, you'll see when the 12, there it goes, and it should chirp 3 times. Oh, come on, there we go. 1, 2, 3. So the 3 chirps is telling me that, hey, I'm not armed, because I disabled the auto arm. Normally, if I didn't disable the auto arm, turn off the key, once the 12 volt shut down, I'd get a beep, 1 beep to say it's armed. Also, the remote shows you whether it's armed. There's a little lock up here that shows unlocked. By the way, there's a battery indicator. FYI, I pulled out a rechargeable battery that I had in the back of the trunk for like a year. I haven't used this alarm, and it worked. I use the rechargeable AAAs. It uses 1 AAA. Again, the range is great. But anything that goes on with your alarm is actually visible on the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and arm. There we go. Now you see it's locked. It shows that it's audible. The audible system is on. And I'm going to show you some of the features of this alarm. So one is, I'm going to set the remote down. One is vibration. So if I bang on the Spyder, you can see, and the lights flash because I hooked up the lights. You don't have to hook up the lights, but I did. And it gives you a chance. Now, the remote is showing that there was someone hitting the Spyder. Show a little hammer, and this vibrates. So if it's in your pocket, it vibrates, lets you know. Let me show you again. Now, if the person or the person messing with your Spyder keeps banging on it, it will keep the alarm going, and this will keep happening. But unlike a lot of car alarms that go off in the middle of the night and keep going for frickin' ever, this one does not. But I'm going to bang the Spyder again. That's the motion. And you'll see it's showing a hammer, and it's vibrating, and then it shuts off because it was just a quick hit. However, if I kept messing with the Spyder, eventually the alarm would just keep going a lot longer. So I love that. None of this, it might go off for a few seconds, but none of this other stuff. Anyway, if you're in the mall or whatever, you also know that something happened with your Spyder. All right, now the proximity sensor. I'm going to show you that next. If I come over here, it's not going to go off. And there's a LED, sensitivity LED on there, and there's a sensitivity pot you can adjust. So you can adjust the sensitivity. I have the sensitivity so that you see the light starting to go off more, if I get in the Y here and then walk out, and this time, instead of showing a hammer, it's showing, hey, someone got too close, not a hammer. So it shows you someone was checking out your Spyder maybe and walked in the Y. That's where I have my sensitivity. If I walk outside and I'm just some person checking it out, everything's cool. But if I get in the Y, see that? Very cool. So make sure when you buy the Spy that you get the one with the microwave sensor, if that's what you want. I don't want anybody getting in the Y on mine. And by the way, the sensitivity, here, I'm going to show you the sensitivity of the beating. I can literally wiggle this a little bit, and you can change this depending on how you mount the alarm. You notice I could, if I didn't have this, you see I'm wiggling the Spyder, it doesn't go off because it's not enough vibration. So someone could sit on your Spyder and you wouldn't know it. And that's why I got the proximity. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and unarm. And the way you do that, I think you have to press it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And then it unlocks and I get a confirmation. Now I can come over to my Spyder. I can turn the key on. By the way, if you don't unarm and you turn the key on, it thinks someone's trying to rip it off too. I didn't demonstrate that, but if I don't unarm this and I left the key in and someone turned the key on, it would go off as well. All right. And by the way, if you hooked up the other wires, yeah, it's telling me, hey man, you didn't arm. Actually, I need to unarm. I think it's 6 times because it rearmed. There we go. Anyway, so if someone turned on the key and it was armed, it would also go off because it thinks someone's trying to steal your Spyder. And that's kind of cool too. Anyway, so I think I covered everything. The Spy 5000, I'm going to show pictures of the box. Again, the whole package mounted under here, easily, plenty of room. You just remove this one panel and all the wiring's right there. You don't need to do anything else. I tapped into the 12 volt there, the ground there. I tapped into the switched, which basically the switch, there was a wire that turns on lights, so I was easily able to find one. I just used a meter. Every Spyder seems to have different wire coloring codes, so if you contact me and I say, hey, it's blue and purple or whatever, may not, if you're not a 2011, it may be different. If you're going to hook this up, I recommend you get a voltmeter where you can actually measure a 12 volt source, measure a switched 12 volt source, and then if you want, the turn signals are easy. You just turn on a turn signal with the key on, find the wire for a specific left and right. There's 2 yellow wires. That's what I hooked up. That way I could get flashing lights as well as sound. You don't have to. I told you the minimum already. But anyway, this is a really cool alarm. I use it all the time when I'm going to leave my Spyder at a restaurant or a mall or something like that. And it just lets me know. I'm going to be honest with you, and this is just a follow-up on why I installed this. I've come out 3 times since I've owned the Spyder and found someone sitting on it. One was a woman, had her little kid, and the little kid's going, go horsey, go horsey. Now it was nice and everything, and I let the kid enjoy himself. But I talked to the woman after. I said, hey, you know, why would you put your kid on someone else's property, you know? Another time I came out from shopping at Vaughn's, and I came out, and some dude's just sitting on it. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I've been thinking about wanting one of these, and so I wanted to sit on it, see what it felt like. Well, go to the dealer, man. And then another guy, I mean, this was so quick, I couldn't believe it. Another guy, I go into a 7-Eleven or something, I come out and the dude's sitting on it, and he's like, hey, man, I always thought these were cool. And I looked at him, I said, hey, give me the keys to your truck or your car. And he's like, why? I said, well, I want to sit in it because I always thought it was cool. I said, this is not cool, you know. Anyway, I have found people, ever since I got this alarm system, now, I don't arm it every single time I run into some place, but if I'm going to go in a restaurant or be somewhere for a little while, absolutely this thing has helped me out. And I have been in a restaurant and had this thing go off because people were checking out the Spyders. Just one of those things people do. Again, if you don't mind them coming into the Y and looking at the dash, that's all fine. You don't have to get the microwave sensor version, which should be cheaper by about 20 bucks. But I do, because like I said, the vibration detection on this would allow someone to get on it. You can adjust the vibration detection, but then you just breathe on it and it'll go off. So like wind could set it off. So I didn't want that either. I don't know. I just found the adjustment of getting into the Y, where you're in the Y, you literally have to be almost on the seat, make it go off, is what I liked. Anyway, just talking about my alarm. Someone asked, so there's an overview. If anybody decides to buy this and wants help hooking it up, feel free to contact me. I will help in any way I can. But I think it's a cool alarm system. If you're looking for, it's 99 bucks. That's what I paid for mine. Anyway, hope this video was helpful. Enjoy.